Hi and welcome to Algebra 1 at BMCHS. My name is Ingrid Throgmartin and today we're going to go through the Chapter 1, Section 2, Order of Operations and Evaluating Expressions. Now, first things first, you need to know your exponent rules. So, there's some words that you need to know. The base is this one right here. It is the 2 and the exponent is the smaller number which is slightly above and right to it, and that's the exponent. And basically together the base and the exponent is called the power. So there's a couple of different ways you could say this. You could read it as 2 to the third power or 2 cubed. And if you had a 5 squared, that would be 5 raised to the power of 2, or it could be read as 5 to the second power. Okay, in simplified form, 2 cubed, or 2 raised to the power of 3, its simple answer is 8. And we've got a nice example down here of what happens when you have a fraction. Let's say you have 2 over 3 in parentheses raised to the power of 3. So it's 2/3 cubed. Well, you would rewrite this as 2/3 times 2/3 times 2/3, which fraction bars can be grouping symbols, somewhat like brackets and parentheses. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag the fraction bar all the way across, and we're going to write all our numerators on the top. So right here we've got 2 times 2 times 2, and then we're going to write 3 times 3 times 3 underneath. So you can see the 2 times 2 lands on top and the 3 times 3 lands underneath here. So once you multiply those out, 2 times 2 is 4, times another 2 is 8. So that's how the 8 lands in the numerator position. And then 3 times 3 times 3 is 27, and it lands in the denominator. Okay, so once you understand a little bit about exponents, then you can move on to the order of operations. Now, the order of operations is really important because what happens is that you end up with the wrong answer if we don't all agree on the same way of doing these. So we have brackets and we have parentheses in this example here. And what we want to do is we first want to work from the inside parentheses, because brackets and parentheses are essentially the same type of grouping symbol. They just look a bit different. So the first thing I'm looking at right here is the 13 minus 7. So what I want to do is I want to work that out first, and you can see 13 minus 7 is 6. Okay, and now I see that the next thing I need to concentrate on are the brackets. So we have to do this 6 divided by 3 next, and you'll see when we do 6 divided by 3, it ends up being 2. Now lastly, since a bracket is just like a parentheses, it's a shorthand way of writing multiplication. So now we're going to multiply the 2 times the 2, and then it equals 4. Now if you did this left to right, if you went 2 times 13, which is 26, minus 7, we've got to think now, 19, 26 minus 7, is 19 divided by 3. That would be your answer, 19 divided by 3. So it would have been the wrong answer if we all couldn't agree on the order of our operations. The next thing you're going to learn in this section is how to evaluate an expression given that the expression has variables, that is, letters that stand for unknown quantities. And this is the first example we've got. We've got m minus p divided by q. Now if you follow PEMDAS, you're not doing this problem left to right. You have to do the p divided by q first and then subtract that answer from the m. Now they've told us what the m is, and they've told us m is 21, that p is 12, and that q is 3. So we're going to replace the m. You can see right here I've rewritten the problem. I've substituted, that's the word you use when you replace one value for another, and I've replaced the m right underneath it with a 21. I've rewritten the negative or the minus sign underneath, and then I've done p, I've replaced that with 12 right underneath. I've kept the division sign, see that right under there, and then the Q. Q divide is basically replace it by the 3. So following PEMDAS, P stands for parentheses, so I don't see any parentheses. So the next thing I'm going to look for is the E, which stands for exponents, and I don't see any exponents. So now I have to go on to M and D. Now, they don't have preference over each other, so we have to do the division sign. So we're going to do 12 divided by 3 first. So 12 divided by 3, you can see I've replaced 12 divided by 3 by 4. Once we've done that, we now go to addition and subtraction, and we work those left to right, so we just got to work out what 21 minus 4 is, and you can see I've written the answer underneath. All the work lines up. Please don't go across, work down the page so it's very neat and you can see what one step happened after another. So that's evaluating an expression. The next thing we're going to do is evaluate a real-world problem. And there's many different ways you can do this, but this is one way that I like to do it. The question says write an expression for the amount of change you have left from $20 after buying oranges at a price of $0.50, that is 50 cents each. Evaluate the expression for buying 5 oranges, 10 oranges, and 15 oranges. So the first thing we have to do is use a strategy to help us plan to get the solution. If you can think of the words to solve this situation, then you can find the expression for sure. For the above problem, when I'm thinking about what the change would be, I'm saying, well, I start with $20. So if I take $20 and I subtract the quantity of oranges times the price per orange, that is the cost of the total number of oranges, then I should be able to work out how much change I'll get. So what you need to do is define a variable. So what we're saying is let's use the letter F to stand for the number of oranges. So you really do write let F be the number of oranges. Now I don't want to use the letter O because it looks a lot like 0. So I figured since oranges are fruit, then we'll use the letter F. Now an expression describing this event would be 20, that's the amount of dollars, minus 0.50, that's the cost per orange, times F, the number of oranges. And now we're going to construct a table using the number of oranges that they asked us to find the change for. So the cost of the fruit, you can see there that it doesn't vary. It always stays the same. The F, which stands for fruit, is the number of fruit. So we've got 5, we've got 10, and we've got 15. So here's my expression, 20 minus 0.50F. So when you multiply 5 times 0.5, you get $2.50. So when we put $2.50 in there, we have 20 minus 250, which is $17.50. So there's my first change if I bought 5 oranges. The next one, again, the cost of the fruit is 50 cents each. Times 10 of them would make $5 this time. So if we have 20 minus $5, our change will be 15. And then for the last one, 0.5 again, half a dollar for the fruit times 15 this time means that the fruit would actually cost $7.50, and then 20 minus $7.50 is $12.50. Okay, if you think you understood what was going on here, please go to interactmath.com and I'll show you how to do that now, but type that into your web browser, www.interactmath.com, and we'll go there right now and I'll show you how to find your textbook. So, when you go to interactmath.com, it says choose a book right here. So click on the down arrow and then you'll see there's the second one down says Algebra 1 Common Core. That's the name of your textbook. And submit. Okay, when you first get into this, you'll see that they've got all of these different chapters that you can use. And it goes all the way to chapter 12 at the bottom. That's really neat. Okay, so you want to click on Chapter 1, and then you'll see in Section 2, which we're at, Simplify, click on Simplify Exponential Expressions. You can see that I've already done 2 of these. So what I'm going to do is click on the next exercise that I haven't done. And what you'll see is it'll bring up it might take a little while, but it'll bring up some questions. So you can see I've done questions 1, 2, and now I'm on 3. So it's asking me to evaluate 6 cubed. So if I work out what 6 cubed is, that's 6 times 6 times 6, and that would be 216. So what I'm going to do is use the numbers above my keyboard here and plug that in. Now, once you plug that in, go down to the yellow buttons at the bottom and click Check Answer. Okay, I got it right. Awesome. And then go through to the next ones. It'll load that for you. 10 cubed, that again would be 10 times 10 times 10. So that would make 1 with 3 zeros behind it. So again, click it, and I got the right answer. Now let's see what happens when I put something in here that's wrong. Okay, so it's asking me to find 2/5 to the power of 4 to the 4th power. So it's asking me to type in an integer or a simplified fraction. Now I'm thinking that this is going to turn out to be a fraction. So since I want a fraction, I go over here to the left and there's all sorts of forms. So I'm going to pick the fraction form, and you see that it put in a numerator and denominator space for me. Well, that's good. So the first thing is I would have to rewrite this as 2/5 times 2/5 times 2/5 times 2/5. So up top I would have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which would be 16. So let's type that in. But let's see what would happen if I did the bottom one wrong. So let's say I'm thinking that it's supposed to be 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. But in my mind, instead of multiplying them, I add them. So let's say I put 20 here. Okay, so let's check the answer and see what it says. So obviously I knew it wasn't going to be correct, and the program tells me if n is a natural number and a is a natural number, then when you raise it to the different powers, then a is the base. So it gives you a clue about, might give you a clue about how to find the answer. So when you've read that, click Done, and then go back to your answer, and you can backspace to delete that entry. And then let's see, 5 to the 4th power is really 625. So let's type in 625. And I see that it's in its simplest form, so let's check the answer now and see if it liked it. Yep, it sure did, so well done. Okay, so work your way through these problems, and you can see I've got 3 out of 6 complete, and of all the ones I've tried, in the end I've got 5 correct. So that's good. If you want a similar exercise, you can click down here on the yellow button which says similar exercise, but when you're all finished, you can press close and it'll bring you back to the chapter sections. So if you click on the down button, it'll give you different sections of that section. So this one's simplifying expressions, one's evaluating expressions, and the last one is solving applications. So that would be the hardest one, and there's only one of those there. Okay, well, let me know how you go, and you can also print your results, but that's it for today. Thank you.